So with the recent release of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and the new upcoming Pixar movie Toy Story 4, I thought it'd be fun to create a roster for a Smash-style fighting game with beloved Pixar characters. I believe I've come up with a pretty nice sized roster for a hypothetical game. Each franchise I'll be talking about has a set of guidelines that they must follow. Each franchise must have a protagonist, which is where the story revolves around them, the story is about them. And then it must have an antagonist, which is, the bad guy. And I must say that the antagonist may not be for every series. There are some Pixar movies where there isn't a direct antagonist, and I tried my best to find a good one to fit this role, but sometimes that just wasn't possible for me. Next, we have important side characters, which could just be called Deuteragonists, but I decided on important side characters because it makes it way more expansive and more simpler to organize and categorize its characters. Next are fan favorites, and they're really just extras, and they're really there for comedic relief. And right now you might be asking yourself, what's the point of all the organization and categories? And that is actually a good question. And there really isn't any point to it, other than I think that organization is key, and this is a really good guideline to follow for what characters to pick out and how many we need for each series. You see, Mario's our protagonist, and we follow his journey throughout the worlds to rescue Peach. Next will be the antagonists, which are Bowser and Bowser Jr. And then for important side characters, or Deuteragonists, we have Luigi, Peach, Rosalina Luma, and debatably Dr. Mario. And then for the fan favorites, we have Daisy and Piranha Plant, which Piranha Plant could be debatable as an antagonist, but I think he's really just in Smash for the funny, comedic character we need. And with all the series in Smash having a logo, I thought it'd be appropriate for the Pixar movies to have the same. This is our template, and I believe I have enough characters to fill up this whole picture. At the end of explaining each franchise, I will add the characters to this list just to see how big it grows. Now into our first franchise. Toy Story is the first movie Pixar ever made, and it was huge for them. And with 4 entries to its name, I feel like it's appropriate for them to have the most reps. The logo I think that fits best with this franchise is the Pizza Planet rocket. Our protagonists are Woody and Buzz Lightyear, with Jessie because she was the main focus in the second film. For our antagonists, I believe Zurg, Stinky Pete, and Lotso Huckleberry fit this category perfectly, obviously. And for important side characters, I found Little Bo Peep to be a good one for this because she is confirmed to come back in the 4th film and have a much bigger role. And for our fan favorites, I believe Ham, Rex, Slinky, Mr. Potato Head / Mrs. Potato Head, Forky, Bullseye, and Alien fit this category perfectly. And now that brings the total number of Toy Story ups to 14, and I know that sounds like a lot, but there are 4 movies in this franchise, and I think 14 is a good number to really show and represent the series in this game. There are definitely characters that be taken out or replaced with others, like I had Barbie, Army Man, and Ken, and Wheezy as options, and I just ultimately put Forky in there because I thought it was funny. But let me know what you think about my picks, and let's just go on to the next series. The next series we have here is The Incredibles, and for The Incredibles, there are a lot of different characters to choose from, but not a lot of those characters are that important. The multiple superheroes that are mentioned and shown are a good example of this. From the first and second movies, we're just seeing like glimpses of superheroes from the past, and in the second movie we actually see them in certain scenes, but I'm really not going to look at those. They're really just background characters. For the logo, I think obviously the iconic eye that they all wear on their costumes and that we see in the title of the film. Our protagonists are Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, Dash, Violet, and Jack Jack. Jack Jack I think could be a good representative for the second film because he was the main focus in it. Our antagonist is Syndrome. An important side character would be Frozone. And for the fan favorite, I think it would be Edna Mode. It'd be a really funny one to have. Some other characters are the Underminer, Screenslaver / Evelyn, or Mirage. But in the end, I believe the characters I've chosen represent the franchise perfectly. The next series we have here is the underwater world of Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. The logo for the series could be many different things, like an enemy, a boat, goggles, or shells, but I think the goggles should be the logo because of its importance in the first film. Our protagonists are obviously Nemo, Marlin, and Dory. I think a funny antagonist could be Darla. Our important side characters are Gil, Crush, and Hank. And our fan favorites are Bruce, Bailey, and Destiny. Now, when I was picking what characters will be in this list to represent Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, I actually had a lot more than just 10. And I still think 10 could be too many, and we could have turned this down a lot, but there are just so many characters in these films that it was hard to really choose which one shouldn't be in it. But I think that it could be taken down a little bit, like I said, and if you let me know in the comments which ones you think could be taken out, but I think this is a good list, really. The next series that we're talking about is the Cars franchise, and I think that a good logo for this series would be a Grand Prix trophy, of course. Now onto the characters. Our protagonists would obviously be Lightning McQueen and Mater. Mater is on the protagonist list because he's a good rep for Cars 2, and I think he just fills the role better than the other 2 characters we got in that film. And for our antagonist, I chose Chick Hicks. I chose him because altogether to me, he's more memorable than the other 2. And for our important side characters, I chose Doc Hudson and Sally. And for the fan favorites, we got Luigi, Guido, Cruz Meadows, and the tractor. And that brings the total number of Cars reps to 9, and I think that's a good number considering the 3 films. And when I was making this list, I had a hard time deciding which category Cruz should be in, because in the 3rd film, she has a lot of like the main story going around her. But in the end, I kind of decided to put her into fan favorites because I thought that she was really there for really comedic relief other than for story. I mean, I felt like it was more about Lightning dealing with him getting old in that movie than about Cruz. So I just put her in fan favorites. The next series has 2 movies to its name, those 2 being Monsters Inc. and Monsters University. The logo for the series would have to be the M with the eyeball in the middle. Now to the characters, our protagonists would have to be Sully, Mike, and Boo. Our antagonists have to be Randall, Henry, and Dean. Though Dean does turn out to be okay at the end of Monsters University, I still feel she's being treated as antagonist because she was the whole movie. Only one important side character, and that would have to be Celia. And then the fan favorites have to be Roz and the Abominable Snowman. The characters that I picked to represent Monsters Inc. I think represent the series very well. And yeah, you could put more characters in there, but I think this is a really good group of candidates. The next series I'm going to be talking about is Up, and I think the logo should be the house. Our protagonist for Up will obviously be Carl, and the antagonist is Charles. Our important side character has to be Russell, and the fan favorites would have to be Doug and Kevin. Now for Up, I didn't really have a lot of characters that I really had in mind. When it came to making this Up list, I actually already had the characters in mind, so there's not a lot of extras that I actually thought were meant to be in this list. Well, actually, I thought Ellie was a good one to throw in there as an important side character because it really does like develop Carl and how he acts and feels, and like in the end, it really just shows how much he grows as a character. But when it came time to actually record this stuff, I figured that she wasn't that necessary, so I just left her out. But let me know what you think about her, if she should be in or not, but let's just move on to the next one. The next series is Inside Out, and for Inside Out, there are many different things that can be logos, like a core memory ball, or just a memory ball, a hockey stick, or broccoli, and I think broccoli is probably one of the best ones we can have here, so I'm going with that. And our protagonists are Joy and Sadness. I put Sadness in here because even though the story doesn't really go around her, she's there for a lot of the action, so I just put her here. And for Inside Out, there is no direct antagonist, so I didn't include one. There is Jangles in the dream world or whatever, but I'm not going to include him because he was there for like maybe 10 seconds, so let's just go on to the next category. The important side characters are Anger, Disgust, and Fear, and the fan favorite is Bing Bong. And that wraps up Inside Out, and when it came to making the characters for this list too, I had basically the same ones I have right now. Ones that could be in are Jangles, and I also had Riley in mind, but I don't think that would really fit very well. Even though it could work, I don't know. Just let me know what you think about it in the comments below, if she should be in or not. But let's just go into the next series now. The next series is Coco, and for Coco, I think the logo should be a guitar. I think that's very fitting. Protagonists for Coco would have to be Miguel and Hector. The antagonists for Coco would have to be Ernesto. An important side character I think should be Imelda. And the fan favorite should be Dante and Pepita. Now when it came to picking characters for Coco, there actually were a lot to pick from, and like I ultimately decided on these ones here because I felt that they really represented the movie very well. I included Imelda because she had that whole like end scene with Ernesto, like her singing in the concert and all that, so I thought that was appropriate for her to have her in this. But let me know what you think about my picks, and let's just go into the next movie. The next movie is A Bug's Life, and I think the logo for A Bug's Life should be just a leaf. I know it's boring, but I think it fits really well. A protagonist for A Bug's Life is obviously going to be Flick. The antagonist is Hopper. Our important side characters are Ada and Dot, and the fan favorites are Francis and Heimlich. In A Bug's Life, there are characters to choose from. I wanted to add in Rosie and Dim, but I feel like that would have been way too many characters, and I think the characters I have right now really represent the series very well. The next movie we have here is Ratatouille, and the logo for this movie should probably be the chef's hat with the whiskers. And for the protagonist, I think we should have Linguini and Remy as a kind of Rosalina Loomis style kind of fighter. The antagonist should be Skinner and Anton. The important side character is Colette, and the fan favorite is Emile. And that's going to wrap up Ratatouille. I don't really have a lot to say about this movie and the characters. I already had them all picked out. I knew what I wanted and how many I wanted and who I wanted, so let's just move on to the next movie. The next movie we're going to be talking about is Brave, and for Brave, the logo should probably be a wisp. And the protagonists for Brave are Merida and Queen Eleanor as a bear. The antagonist is Mordu. The important side characters are Queen Eleanor as a human, King Fergus, and the witch. And for the fan favorite, I chose Lord Dingwall. Now when it came to choosing characters from Brave, I actually thought I had to include all of the lords, the 3 of them, but I actually just decided on Lord Dingwall because I thought he was funnier and definitely more memorable than the other two. And yeah, that's gonna wrap up Brave. The next movie we have here is The Good Dinosaur, and I think a good logo would be an Apatosaurus footprint. Our protagonist would be Arlo. Our antagonist would be Thunderclap. Our important side character would be Spot. I debated on putting him on the protagonist list, but I just put him here because I thought that it was more about Arlo getting home than about Spot. And the fan favorites would be Butch and Forrest Woodbush. When I first picked out characters from this movie, I originally only had Arlo and Spot, and then after rewatching it, I thought that I needed more, which I think is a good thing because a lot of these characters are really funny, and I'm glad I have them in here now. Now let's go into the final movie, and for our final movie we have WALL-E. And the logo should be the E that's in the title. Our protagonist for WALL-E is Wally, and no antagonist. And our important side characters are Eve and Captain B. McRae, and our fan favorite is Bernie from the short film. I included Bernie with the WALL-E franchise for a short film representative, and now we have extra slots, which is something I didn't really count for. I thought I had enough slots already with all the movies, but I miscounted or something, so we have extra slots. So now let's go in and fill them in with short films. So with every representative for the short films, I think their logo should be the Pixar ball. When it came to choosing which short film characters should be in here, I had a difficult time, so I'm really just going to go with my favorite ones. And the short film characters I chose are Piper, Yuku, and Luxo Jr. Like I said, when it came to the short films, I just chose my favorite ones, and don't ask me how Yuku would work because he wouldn't. I mean, he's a volcano. I think we can all agree that Luxo Jr. has to be in there because he's the company's logo, and he's so iconic. But with the short films out of the way, we still got one more slot left, and I wanted to put someone kind of weird in there, so here we go. The last character I have here is Newt from the canceled film. The logo could be like a silhouette of a newt. I know it's completely weird and unnecessary, but I think it's cool because he's a part of the only film that was ever canceled by Pixar, so I think he should be in it. And here we go. This is our final roster. 98 characters. This took me so long, guys. And I'm so glad it's over. I had a lot of fun doing it, but I'm just so glad I'm finally finished. It took me weeks to do this. So let me know what you think about my roster in the comments below. What would you change about it? Who would you put in? Who would you take out? I don't know, just tell me. Before I go here, I want you guys to tell me how I can improve my videos. I know the audio is a little quiet, and I'm working on that. I'm going to try and make it better before I upload this video. But I'm working on that, make it better. Tell me what else I can do. I try to make this video way more visual than the last ones. If you watch my old videos, they're very boring to look at, and one of the videos I did before was this kind of similar style, and I'm going to put that on the screen so you guys can go watch it. It's about Super Mario Party DLC, and I think it's a really cool video, and yeah, I think if there's anything else you guys want me to change, please let me know, and be sure to like the video. It lets me know I did a good job. It makes me feel good. I like to feel good, and subscribe, and bye.